Rams fans, welcome in on this edition of Rams Showcase, a shakeup in the coaching staff, but what impact will we really see? Plus, Pro Bowl rosters have been announced, but hopefully we don't see any Rams there. And later, a chance to bounce back and gain some momentum. We preview Rams at Falcons. Let's rock.
We here, man. We gotta take advantage of victory on one horse. Let's go.
Welcome to Rams Showcase. And now, here's your host, Sheriff Joe Bags.
Yes, welcome to it, Rams Showcase. My name's Sheriff Joe Bags. Shout out Payo time, helping me out on the intro there. Christmas edition of Rams Showcase for you. Being recorded on Christmas Day, I understand that you might be seeing this outside of that, but if that is the case, that is okay. Hope your holiday was awesome. If that's not the holiday that you do celebrate, I hope that whatever you do celebrate is awesome. If you do none of them, well, I hope you just had an awesome end of the year. Heck yeah. We got a big old football game going on Monday night, as feels like 4 years since we've seen the Rams play, and it feels like another 4 years until we get to again. So it's kind of crazy. Thursday night last week, Monday night this week, so we have to watch almost every single team play 2 times between us playing, which feels a little bit absurd, but you know what? I think it's going to be okay. We'll talk about that game as Rams taking on the Atlanta Falcons in their bone jerseys. That'll be relevant here in a moment, but let's go ahead and get into the news before we talk about the playoff picture and where we're sitting in that. So the Rams did fire special teams coordinator Chase Blackburn. Special teams have been an area of concern pretty much most of the season, and we have Puka taking over. And that's the thing, is that it's hard to tell exactly the impact that Chase Blackburn was having, and in the sense of how the special teams were underperforming. Chase Blackburn was not kicking the football. He was not snapping the football. He was not on the field when Rashid Shaheed took a punt return for a touchdown last week. So that begs the question of what kind of impact will this really have when we only have 2 remaining games in the regular season anyway. So we're guaranteed at least 3 more games. Hopefully we're playing 6 more, but that's kind of where we're at right now. Is hard to say exactly what kind of impact this is going to have on the field, on like real eyeballs on a television screen, what true changes we will be able to see with Puka taking over instead of Chase Blackburn now. This is something that I would say was a necessary move based on just the information that we've had as far as the special teams really has been our weakest spot since Chase Blackburn has arrived on the coaching staff. So hopefully this kind of settles some things down. And again, I'm hoping that maybe we just have some different calls in some situations where we're going to maybe see like, hey, watch for this or something along those lines. But again, very difficult to say exactly the extent of the changes that we will see as fans on the field. I'm sure that internally there's going to be some things that the players and the other coaches can kind of quantify as an actual change / improvement. Hopefully that's the case, but us as fans, we may not see a true impact of this move until next season is kind of my point with this. So Chase Blackburn is out. He is no longer a member of the Rams. So we move on. We move forward. Puka, let's rock and roll, man. Pro Bowl rosters have been announced. They were announced this past Tuesday. Rams send in 4 to... Well, I don't know. I have no clue where the Pro Bowl's at. I'm going to level with you right here, right now, before I even talk about the players that have gone. I haven't watched a Pro Bowl since Adrian Peterson played in it. So I don't know what year that was, but it was one of those games where as I was watching it, it was like the second quarter and I was just on my phone already. And I was like, oh, I don't care about this. That's okay. It's fine. No one's trying. No one's having fun, it seems like. And I don't even they don't play the game, right? I feel 80% confident that they don't even play the game anymore. But I can't say that with 100% certainty. That's how disconnected I am from the Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl is one of those things that I have a hard time getting into. I'm not really a fan of it, whatever. So that's kind of just a sidebar before I get into this stuff. Mock drafts and Pro Bowl. Don't care about either of those. But either way, quarterback Matthew Stafford voted in. The 3rd quarterback in, though, so he's not a starter. Wide receiver Puka Nacua, as expected. And then pretty cool on the defensive side, we're getting both of our edge rushers in there, Jared Verse and Byron Young, making the Pro Bowl there. So that's pretty sweet stuff. I did not see if there's a list of alternates that has already been announced. But my thought process is, hey, get your alternates ready for our guys because we got a game the following week after that. So you guys figure that out on your side. You let us know. All right. But that is your Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl rosters, like I said, have been announced. So if you would like to check those out, available on NFL.com. Now, though, let's get into the playoff standings. The Rams, man, in what feels like a free fall as far as the standings go. But I think that's still sitting right in the thick of everything as far as best teams in the NFL as well as the NFC. But looking at the picture now, Seattle Seahawks have clinched a playoff spot so far. This week they play at Carolina. They are unlikely to clinch the division this week, but it is still possible. They can get the number 1 seed with a win, a San Fran tie, and a Rams loss. They can clinch at least the 2 seed with a win and a San Fran and Rams loss. So it's crazy to know that the tie actually can help Seattle quite a bit. But that is also partly because those teams play in Week 18, and that's just kind of how that math all shakes out. So obviously, we would love to see the Rams sneak back into this slot, but, we kind of blew our chance, I think, possibly. In the 2 seed right now is the Chicago Bears. They have clinched the playoff spot. They are at San Fran. That's on Sunday Night Football. They clinched the division with a win, but they can also clinch it with a Green Bay loss. Chicago gets at least a 2 with a win and gets at least 3 with the Green Bay loss. So there is that aspect of it. And they cannot get into the number 1 seed this week. Philadelphia Eagles have clinched their division, so they will be sitting in one of the top 4 spots. This week they are at Buffalo. They do clinch at least 3 with a win or a Carolina Panthers loss. Tampa Bay cannot get into the 3 spot. Carolina takes on Seattle this week, so we are hoping that they can pull out that dub. Of course, they clinched the division with a win and a Tampa Bay loss or a tie. Now, they cannot get the 3 if they lose or Philly wins. And they would be playing right now if the season ended, the San Francisco 49ers. They have clinched a division spot this week. They play the Bears, Sunday Night Football. They cannot clinch the division this week, but they can get at least 6 with a win or a Green Bay loss. The Rams have clinched playoff spots currently in the 6th seed. They would be playing at Philadelphia if the season ended today. This week they play at Atlanta on Monday Night Football. Clinch at least 6 with a win or a Green Bay loss. Clinch at least 5 with a win and a Seattle or San Fran loss. And it cannot win the division with a loss at all, or if Seattle and San Fran both win this weekend, because again, they play in Week 18. That would guarantee that at least one of those teams is going to win both their games, which would lead to the Rams not being able to win the division. 7 right now would be taking on the Chicago Bears, which would be awesome. The Green Bay Packers playing at Baltimore versus Baltimore on Saturday. They clinch the playoffs with a win or a Detroit Lions loss or a tie to the Minnesota Vikings. I'm recording this during the first quarter of that football game, so you may already know. I'll probably know by the time I'm done editing this podcast, but the fact is I don't know right now if the Green Bay Packers have already locked it in because I don't know the outcome of Detroit, Minnesota. I imagine the Lions are going to win, but I have no idea. Just sitting on the outside right now, the Detroit Lions fighting for that wild card spot with Green Bay. Obviously, they need to win both of theirs, and Green Bay needs to lose both of theirs for Detroit to get a chance. And, of course, they're playing at Minnesota on Christmas. Tampa Bay is fighting for the NFC South with Carolina. This week they do take on the Miami Dolphins. That's one heck of a fight, but we could lock up the entire playoff picture for the NFC as early as this week. Rams are likely to be a wild card team, just a note for you. It's based on that loss last week. And it's not just that, like, the Rams lost last week, and obviously that sucks. We hate that. By 1 point against the current number 1 seed in the NFC in their house in overtime. So I think it could be a lot worse. I'm not a skies falling kind of fan. I'm not going to tell you how to be a fan, but I'm just here to let you know it's going to be okay. And really, we're just kind of getting burned by the fact that this division is insane right now. We have 3 teams. With 2 games left, we have 3 teams fighting for the 1 seed out of our division. So 2 of those teams are going to be wild card teams. That's just the way it is. Those are 2 powerful wild card teams, no matter which 2 it happens to be. So either way, feels like we could see an NFC West, NFC Championship game, no matter how that trifecta kind of plays out. It does feel like at least that's coming. I think that the NFC West, all 3 NFC West teams, I think can beat anybody. San Fran is the one that I trust the least out of the 3 NFC West teams. I do think Seattle and LA play in the NFC Championship game. We got to break that tie. We beat them by 2. They beat us by 1. So, I mean, That's poetic, bro. That's I absolutely love that. That's some magical football stuff right there, man. That's football gods gifting us, just some sweet action in January. So I'm here for that. I really hope that happens. The Rams do lock in 5 with back-to-back wins, but they can certainly still win the division. You win against Atlanta, you win against Arizona, you're 5 seed, no matter what. So that's good news there. The Rams can no longer, though, control their own destiny for the division. We do need some outside help now. We're hoping for Carolina to get us a dub this week. Chicago kind of needs to win this week, but also we kind of need them to lose at least one game so that they don't beat us for the 1 seed too. There's so many different moving pieces to it. It's really fun. But and then I'll say this in the most simplest terms I can for the Rams to get the number 1 seed in the simplest way possible. Rams need to win these last 2 games, and Chicago, San Fran, and Seattle, all of those need to at least lose 1 game out of their 2. Week 18, San Fran plays Seattle, so that's a tough one. We hope that whoever, that we're hoping that one of those teams can both those teams at least, get a loss this week, and then we don't have to worry about it. We'll kind of see, though. But then again, Chicago, we would want them to lose 1, so we would need them to lose in Week 18, and it's a disaster, okay? But brain-wise, it's not crazy to wrap your head around, but it is a little bit weird. And we're just watching a lot of things. And unfortunately for this week, too, it's like 1 game at a time, it feels like. We get, all day Christmas, 1 game at a time. I don't think there's Friday, but there might be. Actually, I think there is Friday. And then Saturday games, and then Sunday. And then we got to wait till Monday. So that also feels like Monday is just taking forever to get here, considering we get just 1 NFL game at a time. There's 2 afternoon games on Sunday. That's crazy, man. That's so few. That is so few. The NFC playoff picture, like I said, could be locked in after this week, heading into Week 18. Could be solely a seeding extravaganza between these 7 teams. So we'll see how that plays out for Week 18. We may not have anybody trying to get in anymore. So yeah, San Fran and Seattle both control their own destiny for the 1 seed. If either of those teams win out, they do get the 1 seed. So that's pretty simple there. They do play each other in Week 18, though. So if they both win this week, then next week will be for the number 1 seed. And I fully anticipate that would be shifted to the night game, so we wouldn't even know who's going to play on the road. You know what I mean? So I imagine that that's the case, that's how they'll do that. But again, we'll see if that is the case, if both those teams win this weekend. Because then the Rams, very unlikely. I think it would pretty much be out of getting the 1 seed if both San Fran and Seattle win this week. Chicago can get the 1 seed if they win out and Seattle loses at least 1 game. So a win over San Fran for Chicago this week obviously does wonders for them. And yeah, so 4 teams right now, 2 games to go, 4 teams fighting for the 1 seed. Bananas. Super fun. And a quick peek over at the AFC. The Ravens are eliminated with either a loss or a Pittsburgh win in either of the final 2 weeks. So I would imagine the Ravens will not be making it. Colts' chances are not great, but still technically possible. They are fighting for the 7 seed. They cannot get in with a win, they cannot get in if they lose or Houston wins anymore for the rest of the season. So that's your playoff picture, man. Hopefully the Rams can wiggle into getting at least a home game. You know what I mean? But also, as far as we're looking at playoff pictures and stuff like that, the Chargers are roommates. They're looking at hosting a game at SoFi at least as well. So I would be bummed if they get SoFi playoff games. We don't this year because we got demolished out of one last year thanks to the fires and stuff like that. So I would just love for the local fan base to be able to actually get a home game. I just think that'd be really cool considering how last year went. That's a big stuff there. We got our game preview as the Atlanta Falcons holders. We are holders of their first-round pick, so we want them to do as terrible as possible. We can help out ourselves in 2 different ways. We got your full game preview right after this. It's Ram Showcase. Welcome back in. This is Ram Showcase. I am Sheriff Joe Baggs. The 11-4 Los Angeles Rams taking on the 6-9 Atlanta Falcons. This game kicks off at 5:15 Pacific time. That's LA time from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Lisa Salters on the call. Salters, of course, on the sideline. For you bettors out there, -8.5 for the Rams and -450 on the money line. The over-under sitting at 49.5. So they've got about 20 to 30 for this game. The books do. I put 30-21 because it feels like that kind of just feels right in my brain. Totally checks out that the game would end that way. I don't know if I'm going too deep into that, but it's just like, yeah, 30-21. It's like, yeah, that feels so real, man. I don't know if they can put up 21, but Rams putting up 30 feels like a for sure thing. And no distribution map again this week as Monday Night Football. It's everywhere. Just turn on a TV. Well, I don't know. I don't know what you need to be able to watch this game, actually. Probably like 4 different subscriptions, which is cool. Let's take a look at our pants picks here. The game that is sweeping the nation. Your mom plays. I don't know why you don't. It's an absolute blast. It is the most fun game ever. The Rams are in their bone jerseys for this week, though. And this is the final bone game of the season. And if the rumors are true that the Rams have filed paperwork to change their uniforms next year, it does also feel very real that the bone uniforms may be phased out after this year, meaning that this could be the very final game that the Rams wear their bone jerseys in ever. They are my personal favorites as far as what we currently have. They are absolutely my favorite jersey that we've got. I imagine that we'd introduce a yellow, which would quickly become my favorite, which is good news. But bone is looking like it's going to be phased out. We haven't really even worn the pants that much this year. Now, of course, we have worn the bone pants 2 times with Royal jerseys, and then 2 times each with the bone jerseys as well. In fact, the Rams have not done a different color pants with the bone jersey in a few years. So it checks out that we would wear bone pants, but I'm still going because we're in bone. I'm still going with soul, man. That's my favorite combo that the Rams have right now. Royal helmet, bone jersey, soul pants, I think is absolute fuego, the fuegness for sure. We got Payo Payo is going with the Royal, and then Tuna and Rams House both going with Bones. So I think we have somebody in fan quesos going with the pants picks as well, but I don't remember those offhand. So we'll have to get to that a little bit later. And Falcons, by the way, in their throwbacks. So that's actually one of the reasons I think that the Rams won't go all one color with the bone, because the Falcons are going to be rocking red helmets with black jerseys, white pants, which, I mean, I don't want to be too much of a homer on my uniform combo here, but it does feel like with red, black, white, that if we did Royal, Bone, Soul, that would be just a pinnacle uniform combo on field. You know what I mean? And, as the leader of the Bone Jersey fan group, which I do feel very comfortable that I am, I think that I should get the combo here. They should give me my favorite combo if we're going to phase out the bone. That's it. History of this matchup. This is the 82nd all-time meeting between these two. The Rams do lead the all-time series 49-30-2. So the Rams going for their 50th all-time win over the Atlanta Falcons this weekend. Both ties happened, by the way, in just one game, just one game in between them. In a series that spans 59 years, both ties happened just 10 months apart from each other. That was November of 1970, September of 1971. I just found that rather interesting. The most recent game between these two, September 18th of 22, that was a 31-27 victory for the Rams in a year that there wasn't that many of them. So thank you, Atlanta. Appreciate you. First ever game between these two came on September 11th of 1966. That was a 19-14 win by the Rams. The Rams have won the last 2 versus the Falcons, but the Falcons won the previous 5 against the Rams. Rams did win the first 7 against the Falcons, so it's been a very streaky series if you look at the history of it. There's only a couple times in there where they go back and forth, but it does seem like some streaks for sure. So hopefully the Rams can add to their 2 that they've got right now. The 2 playoff games versus the Falcons have won those both. So we had the wild card game. That was the first year that McVay was the Rams head coach. That was his first playoff game. That game played at the Coliseum. Absolutely amazing. To have that game be, after not having a playoff game for so long was absolutely awesome. Speaking of not having a playoff game for so long, the last playoff game before that one, January 15th of 2005, so 12 years in between these football games. That was a 47-17 win by the Falcons. That was that Michael Vick, Dunn, and Duckett, TJ Duckett. Yeah, man, that was crazy, dude. Work done. Man, that run game was absolutely just incredible at that time, though, man. And I remember The Falcons went down and scored, and then I think it was Kevin Curtis that caught a deep ball he was kind of going across the center there and ended up scoring on that play. And I was like, oh man, we got a real shot here. We just won against the Seahawks the week before. It's like, dude, we could do this, man. This is gonna be good. And then did not go well the rest of the day. So pretty cool stuff there. Obviously, a lot of stuff that we're looking for in this game. We're not done yet. I think we ain't done yet. Rams are looking to get their footing heading into the postseason. Obviously, that loss last week was not one of those killers. It's not a season killer. It's not even a motivational killer in my mind. It's currently the number 1 seed in the NFC. You were at their house in December in weather, and it went to overtime, and you lost by 1. Could be so much worse. I think that the Rams actually played really, really good football against a really, really good football team. So that game could have gone either way. Truly believe that. It's just a bummer to see that, Sam Darnold was the one that was able to march that ball down. That's the best he's ever looked against us, was that overtime drive. So I guess I'll take it. Law of averages means he's not going to do that again for like another 8 years. So that's good news. But they also could help their own first-round pick with a win over the Falcons. The pick is currently 11th right now. The Falcons traded their first-round pick to the Rams last year. Part of that trade for Terrence Ferguson, the Rams moved out of the first round. Still were able to get their guy, but currently that pick is 11th, and I'm sure it's going to fit between 8 and 16. I have not done math on that, and that is a decent gap. I understand that, but with 2 games to go, we're still splitting hairs with draft position either way. I'll say that much, whether it's 8 to 16. The difference in those picks is not as big as you think it is. I think that I don't go 1 to 10. I go 1 to 12 just because of the number of teams that are in the league. That's kind of how my brain works. But I just, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. Aaron Donald went in that gap, just saying. So it's certainly possible. Pick cannot get higher than 8, though, even if the Falcons lose out. The best that they can do, I imagine, is 8. And then it's really unlikely to be lower than 16 as well. The Rams' biggest move right now is through these last 2 games is just to stay healthy. Just get through these games healthy. You're going to the playoffs already. You're probably not going to win your division. You can still, and I don't want to make it sound like, well, we can't win the division. We're not going to do it. Anything like that. I don't want it to sound like I'm not confident in this football team or anything like that, but let's be real, man. We're going to the playoffs anyway. It doesn't even matter anymore, man. It's like, I feel like that's kind of the vibe that the team is giving us right now. It feels like Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. It's like, who cares where it's at, when it's at? Put the ball down. Let's play some ball. Let's play, man. Like, what are you doing? So that's kind of the energy that the team is given. So I'm just kind of following suit on that. And that's also that totally fits into my fandom and how I watch anyway. It's like, I don't care, man. Like, yeah, sure, it would be cool to have the number 1 seed. But first of all, my win is Rams games happening. And Rams getting a 1 seed is awesome, and I love it. And I would never complain about that one time in my life. But that means we get 1 less Rams game. And that kind of hurts my feelings a little bit. So, I mean, take that for how you will. But either way, healthy is the main concern here. If we can win the division, obviously awesome. If we get the number 1 seed, obviously that's absolutely awesome. It's more important to me to come out healthy. I would rather lose these 2 games and have everybody healthy going into the playoffs than win these 2 games and we're, dealing with a Jimmy situation, Puka's at. Like, I don't want to, I'll put that in the universe here. Okay, there's a wood desk. But I don't want to put any of that out there. But I'm just saying, I would rather health than wins the rest of the way out. We're already in the playoffs. We're already guaranteed. We already have our ticket to the dance, all right? So we just need to make sure that we get there, all right? You don't want to blow a tire on the way to the dance, and then you're trying to, you're calling AAA. You don't want to have that happen, all right? So let's just get through this healthy. Number 1 seed, it's not impossible, but it does feel a little bit out of reach, considering we don't control our own destiny. I think that's kind of where my brain's going with it all, is that we don't have the say. But it's also not official yet that the Rams are shutting down Devontae Adams for the rest of the season. It does feel real. It does feel like something that could certainly happen. But we have not gotten official word from the team. I know that there are Rams publications that saying that is going to happen, and it very well might. I don't want to say for sure. Like, I don't have like that inside knowledge of like, oh no, that's a lie. But it was a little bit premature because we haven't got confirmation on that. On the Falcons side here, they have won their last 2 games, both of them on the road. So they're coming back feeling pretty hot. I was in Tampa and in Arizona. And a fun little interesting tidbit here is the Falcons owner, Arthur Blank. He's brought in a third-party firm that is called Sportology, and it is to analyze the franchise and kind of see like where it's not going as well as they need it to be. And I think that from what I've seen on Reddit and stuff like that, and the Atlanta Falcons groups and all that, is that it's leading Falcons fans to think that Raheem Morris may not get a third season, that he could be fired before or after the season ends. And in a sense of like some analytics coming in and saying like you need to get somebody better here, or you need to go an offensive coach here, you need to like something along those lines, or just the fact that if they're looking, even if they win these last two games, they match their record from last year, so no improvement from year 1 to year 2 for Raheem Morris. So a lot of people thinking that he could be out. And this has led to Rams fans kind of reaffirming their confidence in a potential return for Raheem Morris if Chris Shula does indeed get a head coaching job, which we do feel very confident he's at least going to get a bunch of interviews. I would imagine that these teams that already have openings are going to bring him in to at least have that conversation. It does feel like if there's a coach on the Rams that would be getting calls for a head coach, it's Chris Shula and it's Aubrey Pleasant. Those are the two that I'm worried about losing. I don't want to lose them, especially Aubrey. But if we lose Chris Shula, it does feel like somebody could either get promoted from within, or we could bring back in somebody like Raheem to do a good job there. So we'll see. We'll see. We don't want to go off season yet till it's off season time. You know what I mean? So there's that. Let's take a look at some milestones here. Sean McVay, we're going to start with, needs one more win to reach 100. We could have talked about this last week. We didn't, but there's only two other head coaches in history that have hit 100 wins before their 40th birthday. Tell me if you know these names: Curly Lambeau and George Halas. It's pretty good company, all right? Matthew Stafford, he passed it a few weeks ago, but worth mentioning that Stafford is now 5th in games played at the quarterback position for the Rams. I absolutely love that. With this information, I feel comfortable saying that Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback in Rams history. Fight me. Bring it on. If he wins another championship and an MVP, I think that does solidify a few things as far as his cementing of his place in Rams history as well as NFL history, I would assume. He does need 7 touchdown passes to tie Jim Everett for 2nd in Rams history and is currently 12th in interceptions. If the season ended today, Stafford's 41-79 would be 8th most in a single season in Rams history. And with a 300-yard game, that would put him at 44-79. That would end the week in 5th. Rams' record is 21 Stafford, so present-day Stafford would need to average 354 yards over the next 2 games to reach that. At his current average, which is 278.6, he would end with 47-36, which would be 3rd most in a single season in Rams history. So he's on pace to end in 3rd. That would also be 42nd most in NFL history at his current pace. He's 1 touchdown pass to tie the Rams' single-season record at 41. That's tied with 21 Matthew Stafford and 1999 Kurt Warner. He's on pace for 45.3, so about 45 there, per his 2.6 touchdowns per game average. 40 would be tied for 19th most all time, and on pace for that 45-ish would be tied for 8th most in a single season in NFL history. Stafford's 40-5 ratio right now is absolutely unheard of in Rams history, with only 5 interceptions, the most touchdown passes than any quarterback has ever had with the Rams in a single season with 5 picks is 16, and that was 2000 Trent Green. The best ratio with 7 interceptions is 28 touchdowns, and that was 2017 Jared Goff, where we played Atlanta. That's before. 5 interceptions would end the season tied at 121st most in a single season in Rams history. Nice. Kyron Williams needs 6 rushing yards to tie 2015 Todd Gurley for 25th most in a single season in Rams history. His other numbers not necessarily creeping into those conversations. Puka Nacua, though, he's got to stay with me here, all right? So he needs 3 receiving yards to tie Marshall Faulk for 12th in Rams history. That's career. He needs 35 receptions to tie Red Phillips for 12th most in Rams history. So that's receptions, previous one was receiving yards. Needs 3 receptions to tie 2003 Torrey Holt for 3rd most in a single season in Rams history. You staying with me here? Needs 5 receptions to tie 1995 Isaac Bruce for second most in a single season in Rams history. Let's see here. He needs 43 receiving yards to tie 2000 Torrey Holt for fourth most in Rams history. Needs 104 receiving yards to tie 2003 Torrey Holt for third most in a single season in Rams history. 189 receiving yards to tie 95 Isaac Bruce for second most in Rams history. Are you with me there? So if he gets 100 yards a game, then he's going to end in second for receiving yards in a single season. So he's absolutely crushing that. He does need more than that to reach Cooper Kupp, which the 21 Cooper Kupp, which was an absolute superhero. So we'll keep on pace with this going into next week. I'm hoping that next week it'll make more sense. Hopefully that wasn't too convoluted for you. And if the season ended today, Nacua's 1592 would be 34th most in league history for a single season. He's on pace, though, for 1820. That'd be 5th most in league history. Single season. JSN is currently on pace for, currently has, 1637. Nacua is 45 yards behind him and has made quite a leap in the Offensive Player of the Year conversations, although it does feel a lot like people are just already locking in JSN for that. But it does also feel like Puka Nacua is going to end with more receptions and yards. Very real thing there. Take a look at the only connection that I could find here. Actually, I didn't look through the rest of the coaching staff, but head coach Raheem Morris, man, that's the biggest one. I probably should look at the coaching staff. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to do it. We're going to see if there's any extras in here that the heck is their website? If I could spell, that'd be cool. Atlanta Falcons.com. All right. We're just going to go over to their team here, just look at their coaching, because Raheem Morris obviously is the biggest one as far as the history there, because former defensive coordinator, former Super Bowl champion. So we also got Zach Robinson as the offensive coordinator. I believe he was position coach at the Rams at some point. Let's see. We've got maybe nobody else. I'm kind of see here. Lance Schulters, that name at least sounds familiar. TJ Yates is the passing game coordinator. That's cool. Ken Zambisi, I believe he was with us at some point, right? That would make Steve Scarnecchia. All right, so I'm going to unconfidently say just Raheem Morris. Good stuff there, man. So obviously, these two teams know each other because of that connection. Raheem Morris and Sean McVay know each other very well. So the game planning of this one is certainly going to be something to keep our eyes on. I think it's rather exciting stuff to kind of dive into the fact that the brains that are going into it. It's like not only players, obviously, and individual efforts play such a major factor, mistakes and obviously all that stuff, but just the game plan of what am I trying to take away from this guy, and from McVay's standpoint of where am I trying to attack? What's he going to try to take away from me? How can I counter that? I think halftime is going to be a major game changer in this one. I kind of anticipate that this game will be a lot of feeling each other out for the first half, and I'm kind of thinking like we're going to see like a 10-3 halftime. And then outside of that, I think that the second half is where we see our scoring. So that's kind of where my brain's at as far as the head coach versus head coach battle, Sean McVay versus Raheem Morris. Let's get into the matchup here, though. We're going to start with the Rams offense going against Falcons defense. Rams on offense now, rocking the number 1 unit in the league, putting up an average of 405 a game, while the Falcons defense is middle of the road, giving up about 345. Passing the football, second in the league here, 270 a game for the Rams, while the Falcons D is 8th against the pass, giving up about 195. Rushing the ball, Rams keep climbing up in these ranks here, 5th right now, putting up over 126 a game, while the Falcons give up over 128. That's 25th in the league, so low end there. Average points being put up. Rams getting back up to the top spot there, 30.5 per game, while the Falcons give up 24. That is 21st in the league. And on third down, the Rams convert 38%. That's 22nd, so could do better there. And the Falcons give up 40.7, which is 20th in the league. So obviously, the main thing that we're looking at in those numbers here, the thing that jumps out to us is the fact that the Falcons defense is fine, but not incredible. All right. So we can certainly attack these guys. Oh, excuse me. And the ground game is certainly something that, I mean, we're in December football. I know we're like in Atlanta inside on a Monday night game, but it's one of those things where we're December football now, and we're also just trying to stay healthy and make it to the playoffs. We're trying to do two things in this game, which is help our own chances at, getting into the top 4 in the NFC while also simultaneously helping out our own draft pick. I'll say that for that draft pick, that's where I care the least, because again, the difference I think between 8 and say 14, very minimal. I understand that the value as far as a trade goes is different in that sense, but if players that you're taking between 8 and 12, 14, 16, they're all about the same. I kind of separated always of 1 to 4 and then 5 to 12, 12 to 20, and then the rest is kind of where my brain separates draft picks. If you can get into the top 4, you're looking good. Outside of that, if you're anywhere between that 5 and 12 range, doesn't really matter. You're fine in anywhere in there. And then again, from that 13 to 20 range, again, all about the same. You're also in that range. You're seeing teams pick to pick for needs and pick for, just like, okay, well, or opposite, where they're just going like, well, we don't really need a corner, but that's the best guy on our board for sure. We don't pick again till tomorrow, so let's go ahead and snag them. So you get a lot of interesting calls in the first round of the draft. I will say that if they win, in week 18 and that pick drops to 12 or something like that, it's not the end of the world. In fact, it's completely okay. I imagine that we trade the pick anyway. So I'm obviously for values. It'd be cool to get it as high as possible, but that's not something that I'm necessarily putting any thought, energy into. And doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter how bad we want that pick to be higher. That does not mean the Falcons will play worse just because we want it more. It doesn't matter. So either way, that's kind of what I'm looking at there is for the Rams offense to be able to just get that ground game rolling, get out of here healthy, get out with a win, and head back home to wrap up the regular season, and hopefully will not be the final time at SoFi Stadium. Some players here on the Falcon side that we're keeping our eyes on. We're going to start with safety Jesse Bates III. Obviously, awesome safety. Dude flies around. We've seen him with Cincinnati. So, I mean, talented, flies all over the place, man. He plays that great center field, so certainly a guy that can impact your game. Defensive tackle Brandon Dorless, solid pressure in the middle of the line for Atlanta. He definitely has a good time stuffing runs and such. He gets off blocks well, and he kind of just muddies up the middle, so that's somebody to watch for sure. And then linebacker Caden Ellis, replacement for Nate Landman. This is his 3rd year as a member of the Falcons. He is kind of the one that's slotted in once Nate Landman did leave for the Rams, and I would say he's fine, but Landman is blatantly like going from Landman to Ellis has blatantly been a drop off for them. Similar sense, opposite sense for us, where we saw going from a Roseboom, who's certainly not a bad player. I understand a lot of people didn't like him and stuff like that, but definitely not a bad player by any means. But we did improve by going to Landman. So they took a step down going from Landman to Ellis. We took a step up going from Roseboom to Landman. So good stuff there. Best one-on-one that I'm watching here is I'm going to go with D. Alford versus Rams slot receivers, which could include names like Puka Nacua. All right. So I think the D. Alford, I mean, he's year 4. He's always been with the Falcons. Very good nickel corner. But the Rams are able to do things with their formations that really mess it up for a nickel. So this is a kind of a perfect game to see how good is D. Alford. This is kind of one of those games that we kind of really look into D. Alford and see what's he got, man. Because let's be real, corners are something the Rams, and I know my brain's already on of like, well, who's going to be available, who's coming out, like who do we have as far as potential free agents, stuff like that. I'm already looking at that because it feels like that's a position group that the Rams are going to improve on. And D. Alford is one of those names that kind of pops up. I don't know his contract situation, but certainly somebody that I would like to go after. So somebody I'm kind of keeping an eye on in this game. For the Rams side, our 3 to see, we're going to start with running back Kyren Williams. He is currently 1st in the NFL in rushing success rate. That is expected yards per down. So expected yards on 1st down to make 2nd manageable. Expected yards on 2nd down to make 3rd down reasonable. All that stuff. He is 1st. Blake Corum is 2nd. We're crushing as far as efficiency when it comes to the ground game, especially lately. Kyren Williams, going to need a big day from these backs anyway. Kyren Williams, I've been talking about Blake because he's absolutely on fire right now, and he's kind of become our home run hitter. But something tells me Kyren's going to be the one to really show up in this game I have a bet in there for a 3-touchdown day from Kyron. We'll see what happens. And yeah, we'll just let that ride, man. We'll let it ride. Next up, I'll go with wide receiver Konate Mumpfield. And the reason I'm putting Mump in here is because I expected to see a little bit more Mump action last week with Devontae Adams out. It's one of those players that I don't even think Rams fans fully understand how good this guy could be. Watching him play is one of those where it's like, oh, we did the thing again, where we get a guy late and everybody's like, oh, okay, there's some guy with a weird name to pronounce. Does it matter? Turns out, dude, yeah, it does. And I would imagine I would say going into 27 is where Mump is probably looking at being like our number 2 or something like that. I just feel like a really good trajectory coming out of Mump. And with Devontae Adams still being out for this game, I anticipate that we could see some action from him, man. I last week I did Mump / Ferg, so like an and or situation. And then Ferg should have had 2 touchdowns. That first one, don't really know what happened there. Not a big blame the ref guy, but come on, dude. Justin was not okay. We don't need to fully get into that, but Ferg it was kind of the beneficiary last week, and I think that Mump is going to be a little bit more involved this week. The Rams do have a lot of really good tight ends, but also let's remember that the Falcons actually play tight ends very well. So that's why I think that we could see a little bit more 11-12 this week rather than that 13 as heavy this week, simply based on the defense that we're playing against. So Mump, I think you could have a good day. And then we'll also go with wide receiver Puka Nacua. He does lead the NFL in receptions. He is second in the NFL in yards, just 45 behind JSN, but he's 6 back on touchdowns. Adams does lead the NFL with 14, and he may not get more, but that's crazy. But I guess in fairness, Puka Nacua could reach that. He could, technically. Triple Crown Puka Nacua. I at least like the idea that he's going to ruin the season for JSN he was looking at a Triple Crown earlier in the year. It looks like that Puka Nacua is going to steal 2 of those away from him, which is pretty sick. And then JSN's not even going to get the touchdowns. You're going to tell me, you're going to stand there owning a fireworks stand and tell me that JSN is Offensive Player of the Year when Puka has more receptions, probably going to end with more yards, and Devontae's got more touchdowns? How many, dude? How many? I don't know. That's where I'm at with this. But Puka Nacua, obviously, that dude's been on an absolute tear right now. My fantasy football namesake, Puka Nacua, my fantasy football team now. I'm in the championships this week. I'm absolutely on fire for it. I threw in Krosky Merritt like 15 minutes before kickoff, and I feel great about that. But Puka Nacua, he is the namesake of my fantasy football team, which is Apocalypse Now. Apocalypse Now. Oh, incredible. Anyway, my biggest key here for the Rams offense going against that Falcons defense, I'm going to say run the rock, get back home with win number 12. It's kind of where I'm at right now is like just don't hurt yourself, all right? Just handle business in Atlanta, come back home to LA, and let's see what madness we can create for Week 18 as far as potentially 4 teams still fighting for a 1 seed, which is crazy. Well, I imagine it'll be 3. I imagine we'll get down to 3 teams playing for the 1 seed. But either way, just come back with win number 12, and let's throw our hat in that ring, man. Let's see if we can get it done, man. Kyron and Blake should be heavily figured into this game plan. I would fully anticipate that. Falcons have had trouble all year against the run and are in the bottom portion of the league when it comes to the defending the ground attack. So it's certainly an area that the Rams could attack. And, I mean, what are they? They're 25th against the run. I mean, I like the could you just imagine if they had a guy like, I don't know, Nate Landman or something? I just think that would go really well for them. Let's flip over to the other side here. Rams defense going against that Falcons offense. The Falcons offense, middle of the road here, putting up about 350 a game, while the Rams 18th in the league, giving up about 345 a game. Passing the football, again, middle of the road, 216 a game for that Falcons offense, while the Rams give up 221. That is 19th. Rushing the football, 8th in the league for Bajan and the gang there, putting up almost 125 a game, while the Rams give up 105.7. That's 12th. And average points being put up, 20.5 for that Falcons offense. That's 25th in the league. Rams give up 19.9. That is 6th. That is a far drop from the 17 points last week, but that's okay. And third down conversion rate, a third of them for the Falcons offense. It's tied for 29th near the bottom there. And 36.1 the Rams defense gives up. That's tied for 7th in the league. So obviously the numbers that jump out to us there. Again, the ground attack. Bijan Robinson, absolutely phenomenal running back in the league. I mean, one of the best that the NFL has representing him right now. Obviously, as far as the air attack goes, with Kirk Cousins at the helm, I'm not sure if I'm necessarily that worried about it. I think that he's experienced enough and not a dumb quarterback, so he can certainly, move the football down the field on this team, and especially the Rams don't rank high in getting off the field right away. So Kirk Cousins could absolutely, give some long drives in there that could create some unfavorable situations, because obviously in this kind of game, a game against a team like the Falcons, like they could very much just try to ruin our day. That could be their whole goal, is like, let's just make it suck for them. And we do that by Kirk Cousins just getting to third down and converting, so we just want to be able to get off the field. Obviously we're tied for 7th when it comes to third down conversion rate, and pretty low in points. I don't think the Falcons are going to ruin our averages there. I do imagine that we can help ourselves when it comes to those averages, giving up almost 20 a game right now, 6th in the NFL. So hopefully we can kind of tailor that a little bit. But as long as we have more points than them at the end, then I'm pretty indifferent on the rest of it, I'll be honest. Opposing players to watch, we're going to start with running back Bijan Robinson. He is currently 5th in the NFL in rushing yards. And just a fun note here, because Bijan Robinson, we know he's sick. He is one of the best running backs in the entire NFL. He's an absolute monster. And in the Falcons stadium, they have that camera that's on the top that does like that crazy view where it's like his head's still and then everything else is moving. Hilarious view, but it's also really cool. But he has currently twice as many fumbles as Kyren Williams does. He has only 150 more rushing yards on a lot less attempts, and also has 4 less rushing touchdowns. Your Pro Bowl NFC running back, Bijan Robinson. Kyle Pitts is up next year. Obviously, great tight end. Has kind of been one of those where it's, maybe the expectations were a little too high for him, but I think he's kind of settling into where he fits into the NFL, which is not one of the league's best tight ends, but is one of the league's very productive tight ends. Kyle Pitts doing a very good job this season. He needs 146 receiving yards to hit 1,000 on the season. And wide receiver Drake London, definitely a threat through that air attack. I think more so with Penix. I don't know if numbers would even back that up or not, but I just feel like in my mind when I was watching the Atlanta Falcons this year, he was better when Penix was on the field. But again, Kirk Cousins certainly can still get it done. Drake London needs 163 yards to hit 1,000 on the season. So they're all right in that range there. We'll go here on the best one-on-one. I'm just going to go with Jake Matthews versus Jared Verse. I love this matchup here, man. The veteran Matthews from that crazy Matthews family. Actually looking into seeing Jake Matthews still playing. It's like, because I'm a Texas A&M fan, gig him, and it was one of those, I was like, dang, he's still going, dude. Like, I remember when he was picked really high, was that like 12 years ago, something like that. It's been a bit, but yeah, it was kind of one of those where it's like, wow, I can't believe he's still playing, man. Like, and it's not that long ago, obviously, but it's just one of those, it's like, I remember watching him play in college, man. It feels like so long ago. I was a child. That's crazy. But I obviously, he's taken on the maniac that is Jared Verse, and I'm starting to feel like we're at a spot right now where I'm feeling like Jared Verse is about to start taking over some football games, and sorry about it, Kirk. Oh, you know how many times I'm going to yell you like that this weekend or on Monday during the week? On the worst day of the week, Monday, I'm going to yell, you like that so many times. Every time. I hope so, at least. I hope it doesn't get turned on to me. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? 3 to see here on the Rams defense side. I'm going to start with linebacker Nate Landman, former Atlanta Falcon just last year. The biggest defensive addition for the Rams this season. I know Puna Ford came over. That's obviously a massive addition as well. But no impact bigger on the defensive side as far as a new addition than Nate Landman coming over. Year 1, he gets the captain patch. Year 1, he gets the green dot. Year 1, he improves our run defense like crazy. Year 1, he's just pulling these out of nowhere. It's awesome to see, man. So we're thrilled for Nate Landman. Already extended him. He signed a 1-year prove-it deal. We've already got him for 3 more than that. His biggest contract of his NFL career. We love to see it, man. He's currently second in forced fumbles, by the way. He's just one behind Joey Bosa. So watch out, Bijan. Going for you, man. Next up, we'll go with safety Cam Curl. He is 7th in the NFL in solo tackles, so he's still absolutely crushing souls out there. He's flying around. He's a solid tackler. It seems like when he's got his mitts on somebody, they ain't getting away. And that's good news. You see like a Cam Curl holding somebody up and then Nate coming in, flying in with the – it's so sick, man. I'm loving this defense right now, actually. Even though we give up yards and stuff like that, it just feels like when we need to attack, we do. I mean, I realized that last week that wasn't necessarily the case, but can we also just sidebar mention that 2 of the Rams' losses, 2 of our 4 losses, are division games against really good teams on a short week, Thursday nights? Can we stop getting divisional games on a Thursday night? Schedule makers burned us like crazy this year anyway, so can we just stop with that part of it, I think. But yeah, 2 of those losses, half of our losses have come on short weeks against really good teams in our division. And those games went so crazy too. So take that what you will. And last up here, I'm going to go with Emmanuel Forbes Jr. He is currently 5th in the NFL in passes defensed. And he did have a little bit of a stretch in there where he kind of was maybe struggling a little bit more than we had been used to seeing for Emmanuel Forbes. Last week, I think he had a really good day. He made some plays last week, and I'm hoping, going against a guy like Drake London, that he's just able to shut it down, man. So Emmanuel Forbes, I think, is in a spot right now where I think that he's better than we think. I think that he's better than he thinks. I think he's better than the coaches think. I just feel like there's something with Emmanuel Forbes where we do not yet know the potential. We don't know where he can cap out. I don't know how far that floor is down. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like where in Aaron Donald was, like the sky's the limit, but even at his worst, he's still like the third best player in the entire NFL, like at his worst, when he was having a bad day. I don't know how far that floor is down for Emmanuel Forbes, if he could just fall off and then he's just like looking for work, you know what I mean? Like trying to sign to a team. I have no idea how far that goes down, but I also think that his ceiling is so high, we have no clue where it's at right now. I think that he has the skills to become one of the best corners in the entire NFL. I just want to see him actually do it. I would say it's a confidence issue, but I don't even know if that's true or not, man. I would have to like talk to him and figure that out. But either way, I think Emmanuel Forbes Jr. is an incredible player. And I think that this week in primetime is one of those weeks where we see that kind of shakeout. As far as my key here, I'm going to just say that just to get after Kirk Cousins, don't let Bijan obviously completely kill you. But if Kirk Cousins is the one that's dominating, then so be it. You know what I mean? Just feels like he's one of those guys that we should be able to get after. Feels like one of those guys that we should be able to. Feels like one of those teams that we should be able to rock a 4-man pass rush with and still get home. Drop back the rest of everybody and sit back in coverage. Hopefully we can get some picks that way. And just get some pressure into the face of Kirk Cousins. But again, just don't let Bijan kill you. And again, if Kirk is the one that's on fire and he's just having one of those Kirk days, so be it. It happens, man. But I still feel like the Rams can win this game, even if Kirk is having one of his Kirky days, But Bijan is obviously one of those guys that certainly a tough task to bring him down. But that is your game preview. Rams taking on the Atlanta Falcons Monday Night Football, our last primetime game of the regular season. Obviously, we'll get at least one playoff game of action from our LA Rams. But this game kicks off 5:15 p.m. Pacific time. It's LA time from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so make sure you check it out. And we'll also be live on Tuna and the Sheriff. We'll be both live on December 26th. I'm not sure when you're seeing this. But we're doing kind of a longer stream, a little bit of a season outlook, or like season in review / playoff outlook kind of thing. We'll have in some guests and stuff like that, so that'll be an absolute blast. That'll be on the Ram Showcase Facebook page as well as the First and Tuna Podcast YouTube channel, so make sure you check us out there. And then Monday morning, 7 a.m. LA time, same place, we'll be doing our full game preview for that night. So check us out there, and then I'll be doing my pregame live stream again. Naturally, that's what I do, so check us out. Come hang out. It'll be a good time. But that is your game preview. Rams taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Trying to get to win number 12, man. A dozen dubs. That's what we want. We got fan quesos. That's on the other side of this. Ram Showcase. Welcome back in, Rams fans. I am Sheriff Joe Baggs. Let's get into our fan quesos here. I don't have any there. Let me check a couple more spots. I may not have shared it, actually. So Edwin, emphasis on the win, may have not seen the post here. I do see a comment from him saying that my guy Landman got snuffed from the Pro Bowl. And that's one of those other things that like even because people are like, oh, he's snubbed, he didn't go. This guy's better than that guy. And it's like, I just don't care, man. Like, I don't know. It's one of those Pro Bowl is just one of those things. Like, I'm just so indifferent on. And I found out another one recently that I am in on that I just don't care about, which is trading cards. I just don't care. They're cool. I've got some. I've got plenty. I've got a whole collection. They're in a drawer. I haven't looked at them in a while. I just don't understand like the draw, I guess, of them, and you can't really display them because they're too small. I guess I just don't understand the purpose of them. I understand they have value and all that stuff, but I don't get it. That's it. Mock drafts, cards, Pro Bowl. 3 things NFL related I just could care less. I could not care less about. It's not possible. Let's take a look at our fan quesos here, though. Heading over to the YouTube channel, we got 13 of them. 13 of them. That's a pretty good number here. Yeah, we'll just go down the list here. Nothing crazy. First one here come from Ram's house. Whose house? Says, Merry Christmas, Joe. Dude, Merry Christmas to you, man. Hope it's been an awesome day. I saw via text message, SMS text message, some of the gifts that you got from your brother. Absolutely awesome. Fired up about that. Some of my stuff's over here. It's kind of just ad free. I got one of these. New Rams beanie. Heck yeah. That thing's sweet, dude. How you doing, bud? Carl's chewing on stuff. All right. Let's focus in. Said it before, but I want to reiterate how grateful I am for you in this show. Genuinely bringing me so much joy. Honored to know you and share the same state. Hell yeah. Hope you have a blessed year to come. Dude, genuinely, thank you so much, man. I am so thrilled that so many people that I've been able to meet through this show, you're absolutely near the top of that list, man. It's been such a blast. And it's still so early. You know what I mean? Like, it's still like, it's only 2025, dude. We're going to be talking about like, hey, you remember when we were only in season 10? Rams Showcase, stuff like that, man. It's awesome, man. So I'm grateful to have you here, man. Like, genuinely, it's been an absolute blast. We need to do some more videos this summer, though. Like the one where I was Matthew Stafford and you were Cooper Kupp. We need to do some of those again, man. And then we don't talk about the basketball one, never mind. Rams house favorite Michael Brockers moments. It says translate to English. What does that mean? It says nothing. That was different. Okay, well, apparently Michael Brockers is not English. But my favorite Michael Brockers moment, it was kind of an Aaron Donald moment, but I'm counting Michael Brockers too because he was in on that 4th down run to Marshawn Lynch when we were playing the Seahawks in St. Louis at the Edward Jones Dome, where Donald got in there and definitely did some damage, but Michael Brockers and Aaron Donald were the ones that held on to Marshawn Lynch and took him down to end that game. So I would say that's probably my favorite Michael Brockers moment, but there's probably so many that I'm forgetting about. These are hard questions, man. Just put that out there. I have a really hard time with these because sometimes it's so muddy with trying to remember some players. And Michael Brockers isn't necessarily in. I saw the next name, that's why I'm saying that. But because I don't have an answer for that. But Michael Brockers is like, I mean, he was one of those that he wasn't getting the numbers and stuff, man. He was just filling up, blocks and stuff like that and just kind of filling up run gaps and letting other people make plays. So that's like, that was fun, man. Next one here is favorite Sam Shields moment. Dude, I cannot even picture him on the field for us. I really can't. I know that he wore number 37. I remember that. I have a snapshot. It's an image, just a still image of Sam Shields in a Rams jersey. That's really all I can recall right now. I have zero memories of Sam Shields actually physically playing for the Rams, even though I know it did happen. But I've nothing for that answer. Let's see here. Tatted Ram says, here for the pants picks, Joe. Nice. Love it. Says, going full bone zone, but with the royal socks. Dude, Tatted Ram does socks. And Payo, Rams House, Tuna, I know you're here. We may have to start adding in socks next year, dude. We're going to have to use some picks that include more because we're getting outpicked here. Going above and beyond, dude. But going with the full bone zone, which is certainly what I'm saying all day on Monday, right? Is like, especially if we're in bone, all of my coworkers are getting asked if they're ready for the bone zone. That's cool, right? That's fine. That's okay. So I like it though. I like so bone on bone, bone royal, royal bone royal. You know, because we also might get new helmets this next year too. Let's see here. Rams house. What's the number one thing on your Christmas Rams holiday wish list? Maybe a new Rams beanie? Dude, are you here right now? Okay. Were you at my dad's house? That's crazy. It would have been, and it was, and it worked. So, nailed it. This thing's bulky, man. This thing probably, it's got the lining on the inside too. That's so, it's all super warm. As a Colorado person, you got to have that liner in there, man. That actually is such a game changer. If you're just rocking beanies for the fash, then the lining is not relevant. But if you're wearing it because you want to keep your dome warm, you need that liner in there. It's very helpful. This also does not hurt. I'll tell you that. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, I don't want another jersey right now, actually. No jerseys. I'm on a jersey freeze until we know what's going on with our jerseys. If we're going to re-up on uniforms, look, I got a gift card for NFL Shop, and I was like looking at jerseys, and I was like, no. Wait, dude. Just wait a couple months. I'm going to use that for potential if we upgrade. So I'm going to get a new jersey when it's time to get a new jersey, I guess. So I'm waiting. I'll see. I'll pick a player, probably Jared Verse, but that is on my wish list. But I want to wait to see if we change our jerseys. But also, sidebar on that is the fact that if we do change our jerseys and get rid of the bone jerseys, I know that the bone jerseys are going to be so cheap. So then I may just load up on those because I really do love those. Even if we don't wear them anymore, still my favorite current. The yellow Color Rush jersey is my favorite. I wish we would pair it with a white or blue pants. That's not a topic for this, but you get it. All right, you're with me. So yeah, I think is the answer to that. Paul says, do you think Davante Adams will sit out until the playoffs? I think it's certainly not impossible that this is something that happens, although I think he comes back for the Arizona game on a limited basis. He may come back. That's obviously it. So, I would say that he comes back for that game. He's at least active in that game, and maybe he gets like 5 to 10 routes total. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy, or maybe we just use him on goal line situations for that game just to kind of loosen up a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but it's certainly possible that we do shelve him for these last 2 games because I guess keep going back to that Rams Revealed where he was on with JB Long, and JB asked him, he's like, kind of feels like the Rams season starts getting the NFC Championship game, right? And Davante's all, yep. It's exactly right. Like, that's the playoffs, then it's time to roll. And I think that the once the playoffs start is when we will see the Rams' true identity. I think that's when we'll really see who this Rams team is trying to be. I think that we probably could be closer to being undefeated than we are. If that makes sense. Don't think about it. Makes sense. But having Davante Adams sit out, though, I mean, I think it's the smartest move, considering hamstrings are such a nagging deal. They're such a nagging little injury that kind of just hangs on to you for a little bit, man. So you really do want to make sure that that's cleared up before you're good. If rushing Davante back to get him back for the Arizona game means that he is still potentially through the divisional round, championship round, stuff like that, if he's potentially still going to tweak it again, then yes, I say let's hold him. We are in the playoffs anyway. Let's just make sure that we are the best we possibly can be when each game, you're not guaranteed one after, let's just make sure that we're good enough for those. Rams house. If Byron Young were a candy, what candy would he be? Did you ask this one already? Byron Young. Put myself in the candy section. Oh, he's a 0 bar, dude. Because first of all, those are delicious. And second of all, the number is absolutely flawless. So that's incredible. The fact that there is a 0 bar for Byron Young makes perfect sense. And I absolutely love that. So I would say based on external factors from the 0 bar, because let's be real, for the 0 bar himself, this is not a Byron Young comment. Packaging is a little boring. All right. And the reason that I say that is because going into the NFL season, everybody's like, yeah, BY's awesome, but Jared Verse is crazy. Where you walk into a Maverick and you're like, oh man, look at this though. Like, yeah, there's all this candy, but look, we got Snickers, we got Reese's peanut butter cups over here. And then you have that one person who's like, yeah, but zeros though are crazy. And then you're like, you know what? You're right. Give me that zero. And it's going to change your day, at least your afternoon. Just like Kirk Cousins' afternoon is about to get changed by a zero this Monday. Let's go. I like that one, actually. I like my answer for that. I'm pretty pleased with that. Sometimes I'm like, I walk away and I'm like, nailed it. You know, that's one of them. If you matched the position we played in football to our personalities, what positions would we play? Example, Tuna equals tight end. Your people are me, which is you, Payo, yourself, which is me, and Tuna. Okay, so our pants pickers for our positions group. Okay. Whew, that's hard. I'm going to start with me, and I'm going to say that I have I have secondary energy, man. I have I have secondary energy, man, for sure. I understand you're going to lose some reps. That does not mean anything, man. That does not mean anything at all. And in fact, if you're doing your job great, no one even knows. No one even knows, man. And also just the loudness. I like to go this way with my seatbelt, personally, because if you go this way with your seatbelt, that's actually, you're sitting in the passenger seat, and I think that's weird. So I go this way because I'm the driver. I don't know if that's actually a thing, but I do like it though. Let's see. You have Tuna at tight end, and I don't hate that. I really don't hate that, but I'm actually going to go to the other side here, and I'm going to give Tuna edge rusher. I just feel like Tuna's so relentless, dude. Like even when things are not going perfect, they're not, not everything's in line and going exactly how you want it to. Tuna persists, man. Tuna is just going to keep on showing up every single rep and coming after you. You know what I mean? The dude does work all the time. That's all he's ever doing. So I'm going to say that Tuna is an edge rusher for that reason. I'm going to go next. I'm going to go to Payo time. And Payo is so wholesome in just the sense of like just a genuine human being, but also, again, another really hard worker, attention to the details, will do what he can when he can, but again, will not give up, certain personal life things based on show stuff. If he's got to work, there's no watch party. That's just the way it is, because he takes care of his responsibilities. He's probably the most responsible of the entire bunch. Let's be real. So for that reason, I'm giving Payo quarterback. Payo's the quarterback, man. We need the most, grounded, I think, just genuine, just like, and for the people. He's for the people, man. He's very much like helping out others and stuff like that. So it's more of and it's just his personality. So I would say that the quarterback, he's kind of keeping everybody grounded, keeping everybody level. When the OBJs of the world start popping off, he's on the sideline like, hey, man, we're all good. How about this? We're going to get a first down here. How about you get this touchdown here? And then everything, like, he's that kind of personality type. So I'm going to give quarterback to Payo time. For you, though, Rams House, that's a hard one, man. That's a hard one. And I'm going to go with wide receiver. And part of that is because of the connection with Payo time. I feel like you guys would have like that 21 Stafford to Cup kind of, a relationship on the same team, because you guys work well together. You guys have a lot of the same, visionary aspects when it comes to content, when it comes to just living life and all that stuff. So I think that combo together would go really well. So I would give Payo the quarterback, throw into you at the wide receiver spot. And I just think your personality fits that. It's not super flashy, crazy, obnoxious, but it is very like, it's, I don't want to say like look at me kind of energy, because that's not the case, but it is very like, I can do whatever you need me to do. Like if this is the situation I'm in, yeah, I can handle it kind of thing. And that kind of just plays perfectly into the wide receiver spot. You never know what that secondary is going to be throwing at you. So I'm here for that, man. So give me the cornerback / safety kind of, I'll say corner for the personality type there. I'm going to give Tuna the edge rush, the relentless, never take a play off, just keep that motor running. Kind of energy. Payo time, just spreading the love, keeping everybody grounded, keeping everything sane. And then for you, Rams house, that wide receiver that helps that quarterback keep everybody together, and also just brings a little bit of flash, but not too much, where it's like, where you're like, whoa, you're doing too much, man. But got the swag coming in there to just keep everything cool, man. Those jerseys would fly off the shelf. That'd probably be the Rams house jersey would be the highest seller on that team for sure. All right, moving on. That was a really fun question. Porter, did you fix your computer or get a new one? I got a new one, and I'm poor now for it. It's also Christmas Day, and I still wanted to get my niece stuff and all that. I'm getting a new nephew, not till June, so next Christmas we're gonna have to figure that out. But that's very exciting, by the way. I'll show you this. This is how my sister told me that I was gonna have a little nephew. I don't know if you can see. That's actually probably going to be blurry. It says, move over, Carl. Uncle Joey's watching football with me. I absolutely love this. This is the coolest thing ever, man. My sister nails gifts, by the way. I'll show you the next one on the Tuna and the Sheriff show tomorrow. I'll have to show you that one there because I want to. This isn't show and tell, But yeah, I did get a new one. That thing's a beast, man. That thing's an absolute monster of a machine. Way better than my last one, and I'll be able to have this one for a few years, so that's good news. Next one here from Rams house. The most underrated Ram on our current roster. My vote, Poona Ford. Dude never gets any credit. You're absolutely right. And I think it's just because he's so quiet. He's not a very flashy, loudmouth kind of guy. I think that's kind of part of it. He's kind of does his job. Very, very much filling into that Brockers role of I'm just going to eat up some blocks, man. You guys make some plays. You're good. He doesn't even want to talk to you. Not even a little bit. If you try to talk to him, he's just going to, yeah. That's it. Just a yeah. How you doing, Poona? Good. That's it. You know what I mean? So it's hilarious, man. I'm a big fan of Poona Ford. But most underrated Ram on the roster right now, I'm a little inclined to say Mump, which is crazy. Not crazy. He's awesome. Let's see. Omar Spates, and it's because that Nate Landman gets so much attention. I would also go with Kobe Durant. It just feels like Forbes now is the one that gets all the conversation there. I think Cam Curl doesn't get nearly enough love from Rams fans for what he brings to the table. I think he's absolutely incredible. I think Harrison Mevis is, the way he's come in, and he's only missed the one kick, and yeah, sure, it was very untimely and very unfortunate. But yeah, that's a good one there. I think it's a good list. I think those guys are all underrated. You know what I mean? So I think even Blake is a little bit still. I think that Colby Parkinson certainly is. I think all of our tight ends are underrated. I think most of those guys would start on other teams. If they were, in a situation where they just want to play some ball, then I think that we could see a world where we have to trade 3 of them because they're like, I want to go play somewhere, man. Let me start. But it works because they rotate so well. We got just 4 of the same guys, and it's absolutely awesome. So. Bunch of underrated guys on this team, I'll say. No one overrated, I would say. Who am I, though? Let's see here. I'm going to end on that one here. Next one here comes from Porter. Did the refs screw Rams because Puka is common about the refs? That's why the NFL has worst crew of the NFL. Was the 2 points BS? And should they change the NFL overtime to the NBA? I don't even know what the NBA overtime is. Couldn't even guess. I have zero clue what that even means, really. I've been to an NBA game. It was cool. But I truly have no clue what that means, what you mean by that. Should they change the NFL overtime to NBA? Not even sure what that's a reference to. But was the 2 points BS? Not necessarily. By rule, it technically is correct. I just think the timing of the review was a little unfortunate. And then it says, did the refs screw the Rams because of the Puka comments? No. If that were to come out that the refs actually called plays because of called penalties and stuff because of Puka's comments on a stream earlier in the week, that would be a problem. So I don't think that's the case. And it says that's why the NFL has the worst crew of the NFL. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, man. I'll be honest, but I will say that I don't like to comment on the refs. That's a factor of the game that you kind of just have to deal with. Sometimes it's going to hurt you. Sometimes it's going to help you. One of the things that I always kind of point to myself is like, yeah, sure, we got burned by refs in this game, maybe a game earlier in the year and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, but we also have had some calls in some pretty big situations that have helped us quite a bit. Looking at you, New Orleans, I understand, you know what I mean? So that was also a long time ago, and I'm not sitting here like saying that they're allowed to complain about that, but that's also just it, man. Is like, it's not worth complaining about, because what's the point? What does it do for you? How does it help you? I don't think it does anything. I think it's put yourself in a position where if the refs do make a call, that every single person in the world is like, that was terrible, which did happen to the Rams this past week. But again, I'm not in a position to comment on the refs. I don't know exactly what they see. I'm also one of those people that I can't believe that the refs aren't full-time employees of the NFL. That is absolutely absurd. The fact that these refs in the offseason have to go get jobs and do other stuff all offseason to make it ends meet, they don't make that much money. I think that's absolutely crazy. What they should be doing all summertime is training camp for refs. They should be in situations, they should be doing things that make them better refs, and they should be paid handsomely for it. That's my opinion. I think that the refs, I'm a little bit on the refs side in some ways, thinking that I think that the NFL should do more for the refs. I think that they should be in a better position to do their jobs well, and I don't think the NFL puts them in a position to do their jobs well. And they're in a situation where they aren't full-time employees. They have to do stuff in the offseason. Most of them do, to make ends meet and stuff like that. They're reffing other sports and stuff. Like, they're doing like other things. And then basically they're in a situation where they cannot win because they don't get enough time to really be the best at their job. And when they screw up, it's just everybody hates them. It never, ever are you going to end a game and be like, dude, yes, the refs absolutely crushed it. They did such a good job in that game. They didn't miss a single call. Like, no one's ever going to do that. So even when they do well, no one cares. They only care about the refs when they do bad. And it's just one of those situations where, hey, I just deal with it, man. Like, until they're actual full-time employees, I think that the refs are going to be bad. So just the way it is. Now, the last one here is going to come from Mua Deep. Says, he does look like a tuna, so it makes sense why we call him that. But where does Sheriff Joe Bags come from? And then Rams House commented and said, I know the answer to this and strongly want to answer, but I'll leave this one to Joe. Yeah. Fun fact. Okay, so I do have the tattoo here, Sheriff Joe Bags. It's my badge there. I've been called Sheriff Joe Bags for probably good 14, 15 years now, before Ram Showcase even existed. And Joe Bags is short for Joey Bag of Donuts. I was working at a bakery, and I was on what they considered the donut shift. So I would go in at 1 a.m. I was off at 9:30 in the morning, but I'd go in at 1 a.m., start, baking bread, toasted some donuts and stuff. And so I was Joey Bag of Donuts, which got shortened to Joe Bags. And then my friend PJ added Sheriff, and one day he said something. Because he was calling me Joe Bags, and then one day, it was, in fairness, right after Peyton Manning came to Denver. He's a big Broncos fan, and so everything was Sheriff. But then, so he called me Sheriff Joe Bags, and that ended up sticking like pretty quick. And it was like, oh, Sheriff Joe Bags, that's such a fun, stupid name. And it just kind of stuck. And then when I started I had the name for a little while, like I said, so like 14 years or so. And then when I started Ram Showcase, I was like, dang, what do I go by? I don't want to be just Joe. Like, that's boring, dude. Like, it was like, because everybody's just like, they just go by their name, and it's so boring, So I was like, I'll just go Sheriff Joe Bags. Not thinking that like 10 years in, I'm going to have a tattoo of it. I'm going to be people just call me Sheriff, like, which I absolutely love. I think it's fun, man. But yeah, Sheriff Joe Bags. I was on my local radio station. I was the night guy for 2.5 years. I was Sheriff Joe Bags there. I got my badge hanging back here. That was an absolute blast, being on a rock station, just, picking up bands and going to shows, and just, it was crazy, man. Good times. But yeah, I was Sheriff Joe Bags there. But yeah, that is it. That's the genesis of Sheriff Joe Bags, is Joey Bag of Donuts. And then Sheriff was added by my buddy PJ. Fun stuff, man. That is going to do it for our fan quesos. Appreciate you all for dropping those. Moody popping in here. Porter popping in here. Edwin, I do apologize, man. I forgot to share it onto my personal Facebook. So, Edwin, emphasis on the win. Shout out. Merry Christmas to you and yours, man. Hopefully your day was absolutely awesome. We'll make sure we get on, get some chatting for our pregame stream and all that stuff. But again, Monday Night Football. That's when the Rams play again. It feels like it's been 7 years since the last game, so hopefully this doesn't take super long from Christmas Day to Monday Day. It's so far away, but that's where I'm at emotionally, I guess. But yeah. Make sure you check us out. Full game preview on Tuna and the Sheriff. That's on the First to Tuna podcast YouTube channel and the Ram Showcase Facebook page. It's linked below. You can check it out there. Make sure you also check me out on the Ram Showcase Facebook page and YouTube channel ahead of the game live. We'll be just kind of chatting Rams as we head out to go check out this game. I'm actually not sure where I'm going for this one. We'll see. It should be fun. Fun stuff there. Again, hopefully, whatever holiday you celebrate, I hope it was absolutely fantastic. If you got a birthday coming up, I'm not forgetting about you. Happy freaking birthday. It's awesome. Don't let Christmas overshadow your birthday. This is your day, all right? This is for you, all right? Somebody is going to be like, thank you, but that's fun. My birthday's in July, so I don't really get a lot of football stuff for mine. Oh, well. I did go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame for my 33rd birthday, though. That was fire. Whew, man, that was awesome. It was like 98 in Cleveland that day. Yikes! Anyway, that's going to do it for me. I am Sheriff Joe Baggs. This has been Rams Showcase on Sports War Radio and the Fan-Sided Network. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you so much for watching, and go Rams.